What's up, hockey fans and hockey fanatics out there? Welcome to episode 41 of the Hockey Lounge. We are back. We've been off for a little bit, about 10 to 12 days, but we are back. It is Thursday, November 4th at 9:40. We're rocking the lounge live tonight. My wingman is back. Looking a little rough there with a little bit of a shady beard tonight. Says he's busy at work. Not sure if he's busy playing or is he really busy working. What's going on?
Not much, man. How you doing?
All right. We were on last time, and it was week one of the NHL season. And now we're into a few weeks into the NHL. And we're back tonight because we're going to be talking about the big news of the day. The trade that went down, I guess, after midnight. They kept it nice and quiet. Jack Eichel is now a Vegas Knight. Your thoughts on that?
It's about time it happened. We've been waiting for this for 6 to 8 months. You want me to dive into my thoughts on the trade as a whole?
Yeah, for sure. That's what we want to talk about tonight. Did Buffalo come out with what they thought was a good deal for them, or did they get rinsed like they did with Ryan O'Reilly?
To be honest with you, I think for the amount of time it took, and I thought they were going to get rinsed at the end of this because it took so long. But you know what? I think Kevin Adams did pretty good in this deal. I actually like it. I don't know what Eichel's going to be like after the surgery. You never know. It's an unknown. But I think Tuck's a pretty good NHL player. Peyton Krebs has got a lot of upside to him. He's got a lot of potential. And then they got a first and a second. Buffalo had to get rid of him. He was gone.
Right.
So I think for what he got, I think Buffalo did pretty good in this, to be honest with you.
The one question I do have, though, in regards to that first round pick that they got in 2022, is that it's a protected number one pick. So if Vegas does fall into, the bottom 10, Buffalo does not get that pick because it's protected. So the one thing that I would say is that, I like the two players they got in return. Upside I've been a big Tuck fan for a long time. I think he can go up and down the lineup from 1 to 4. He provides a big body. He can skate hard. He can finish. I really like him. If you talk to my sons, I'm always saying I like 89 on the Vegas Knights. The crazy thing about that, though, he says he wants to come to Buffalo because he loves Buffalo, and he was a fan as a youngster as a Buffalo Sabre. That's rare to hear that up, right?
You ain't kidding. Not too many people want to go to Buffalo right about now.
I'll go to Buffalo and I'll go to the Anchor Bar and have some wings and go to the Sabres game, but I don't know if I want to be there full time.
Then you're out right after.
I'm out right away. Get me to the Rainbow Bridge and I'm Gonski.
Yeah, right? I'm the same way when I go watch the Devils in Buffalo. That night, I'm out.
I'm out, right? And if I'm staying on the Niagara Falls side, on the Canadian side.
Yeah, for sure.
if that happens. But, yeah, so that's the only thing. I'm really surprised at them getting that, the first-round draft pick protected. But we'll see where that goes. What do you think about like you said, Jack Eichel? He won't be back, they're saying, probably till middle of February. There are some whispers tonight that this could be some sort of Cooch thing that you're looking at, right? That, if Vegas is rolling and because of their cap issues, they might say, you know what, mend, come back in April, don't even come back in Feb.
Yeah, very possible. Very possible. Like we said on previous shows, the league's got to look into stuff like this now. Too many teams are trying to bend the rules like this. I don't like it.
Right. It's definitely something to think about. But again, when you look at the Vegas Knights now, if you look at what they've done at the center ice position, and I was listening to the guys on Overdrive today, and they were talking about how the Vegas Knights are like a video game, like being a GM of a video game. Every big name they're after, every big name free agent they sign. If you look at their 1, 2, 3 centers now, they can play with anybody in the West. Now they got their number one guy in Eichel. Then you throw in Stevenson. Then you throw in Carlson as their number 3. That's a pretty deep lineup now. And then I believe you also have Roy that can come in on the 4th line center. That is a deep now team down the center ice position. What are your thoughts with the Knights now?
Well, I agree 100%. That was my comment with them, Buffalo getting the first round pick. I never assumed that it was going to be in the top 10. Mm-hmm. I don't even think the Sabres think that it's going to be in the top 10 because the Knights are a good team. Right. They're a good team. They should be there in the playoffs. So I don't think that was even an issue.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But looking at the deals that were on the table that were speculated last night, there was rumors swirling. Kevin Weeks reported it that he heard that in a Calgary deal that Matthew Tkachuk might go the other way. Now, if there's any truth to that rumor.
I heard that too, but then according to TSN today, they shot that down. They said he was never in it.
Right.
That's what they're saying. So you don't know who to believe.
Right. Because I'm also hearing now that the reason why they're saying that is because you have an upset Tkachuk now on the Calgary side.
Yeah.
Now knowing that his name was being dangled for Eichel, he's supposed to be sort of the face of the franchise now, the big name out there, and he's being dangled. So now it's sort of like a Band-Aid. You're sort of Band-Aiding that, putting a Band-Aid on that trade rumor out there. And, it's a dangerous game you got to play when you're a GM if you're dangling your top guy out there.
I agree 100%. That's why I don't know how anybody hasn't learned from Lou Lamoriello that keep your stuff quiet. You have your phone call to GM and everything else stays quiet. Nobody ever knew who Lou was talking to and what players he was dangling in any deals.
Right.
Probably for this reason alone.
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of good hockey games happening tonight. You just had my Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Philadelphia Flyers 3-2 in overtime. Looking at some of the rest of the scores tonight, you had the New York Islanders thumping the Montreal Canadiens 6-2. Boston Bruins taking care of the Detroit Red Wings 5-1. Patrice Bergeron getting a natural hat trick, his first 3 of the year. You had the Panthers winning overtime 5-4. They had a 4-1 lead on the Caps. They beat the Caps 5-4 in overtime. The Maple Leafs come back in overtime to win 2-1. I believe John Tavares scored in the last minute of play there with 45 seconds left. He ties it. Nylander scores in overtime, and the Leafs come out victorious tonight, 2-1 over the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Vegas Golden Knights, the team we've been talking about here in the opening with the Jack Eichel trade today, beat the Ottawa Senators 5-1. And then you have the Dallas Stars at the end of the first beating the Calgary Flames 1-0 at the end of the first. And you also have tonight on the schedule, you have the Sabres at Seattle at 10 p.m. And then you have the late night with the Blues and the Sharks. NHL news and notes. So what are your thoughts here up? Again, we went over week 1. What are your thoughts on surprises this year so far on what you've seen with some of the teams and some of the standings? If you look at some of the wild card standings right now, there's a couple teams that are really catching my eye. We'll start off with the Eastern Conference. Take yourself off mute up.
Sorry about that. To me, the surprise team right now, Buffalo start 5-3-1. I don't think that's going to last. But the team, to me, that I thought that was in big trouble at the beginning was actually Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh surprised me in a good way. I thought they were going to possibly be out of it by the end of the first month, and they're anything but. They're hanging in. Sullivan's doing a fantastic job there. Everybody's playing. I was actually watching that game tonight. I watched the first 2 periods tonight before we came on. Pittsburgh looks like they got a lot of jump. They got a lot of role players there that are like Brian Boyle looks like he's rejuvenated. Gensel looks solid tonight.
Yeah.
McGinn looks solid tonight. Like they're playing well, Pittsburgh, and that's surprising me in a good way. In a bad way, Montreal Canadiens. I said that they weren't going to make the playoffs this year at the early in the summer. We were discussing right after the Cup, but man, they look brutal. Their defense right now just looks brutal with the guys that are out. Like they're 3-10 now, 3-9.
Yeah, they're currently right now they're 3-9. Yeah.
Yeah, they've given up what are they giving up? 45 goals. 45 goals in 12 games. They're averaging almost 4 goals against the game.
Yeah, speculation is Carey Price will be back this weekend, so maybe that'll solidify them in terms of getting somebody back in the pipes there as their number one, and hopefully shutting the door down for them. A couple of teams that I've looked at that are surprising to me to see the Rangers at 6-2-2 here with 14 points. They've come, the team that you love to hate, coming out of the gate strong. Seems that Tampa Bay, even though they blew that lead at the end there seem to be, playing decent hockey. Again, the Panthers, we projected them to come out of the Atlantic at first, and they're flying high. That's not Carolina. Again, we talked about them. How about Alex Ovechkin scoring his 10th goal today? Just incredible. This guy never stops. It's crazy to see. The Devils, again, 4-3-1. They're running into injury problems. I just saw today on the news wire that Dougie Hamilton now is day-to-day.
Yep. Hamilton, Hughes, Blackwood hasn't played a game. They've already gone through 3 goalies.
Right.
And Blackwood hasn't played. He's going to be their 4th.
Yeah. Columbus Blue Jackets 6-3-0. Flyers losing it tonight in overtime 5-2, and they should be 2. And then you look at the Blue Jacks, like 6-3-0. Like that's pretty crazy too. These teams that were unexpected, but we've said it before on the Hockey Lounge. It's not really how you start; it's how you finish. And sometimes you see the first couple months where the standings look a little iffy, and then all of a sudden, the teams that you think that are going to be, up there in the wild card races and solidifying, the top 3 in their each division. That's normally what happens and what tends to happen. Looking at the Western Conference right now, you have the Blues at 6-1-1. They've come out of the gates really strong. Winnipeg Jets 5-2-2. The Wild 6-3. Edmonton Oilers looking strong, 8-1. Calgary looking strong, 6-1. Surprise team for me would be San Jose, 6-3-0 . I had the Sharks last in the Western Conference, and they're somewhat playing good hockey here.
Yeah, I agree with you. So did I. I had them in the exact same spot. I had them last. They're playing great.
Yeah.
In Calgary's 6-1. They went on that 5-game road trip and beat the Pens, beat the Devils, beat everybody.
Right. You want to maybe try logging on and logging off apps. I can't even see your face right now. So, you're just a little bit. Can you see yours? It looks.
Totally, I can see everything.
Yeah, you're good. Okay,
yeah.
Maybe it's just my internet. We'll see. We'll see how it looks after we review the show tonight. And then we also have the Anaheim Ducks, playing decent hockey at 4-4-3, and then we have the Preds at 5-5, surprising. Vegas Knights 5-5 with their win tonight. They'll be 6-5. The Avalanche struggling up. Your thoughts on the Avalanche?
They got a lot of injuries. I was looking at it today. McCarr's out. They lost McKinnon for a while. Landeskog for a while. I think they're going to be okay by the end of it. But I mean, right now they're just riding a rough road. They got a lot of guys out. A lot.
Yeah. And then you have the bottom sellers, the Chicago Blackhawks, which I picked 3rd in their division, and they're just spiraling right now. Marc-Andre Fleury looks like a shade of what he was last year and the last couple of years there. He just doesn't look comfortable. Watched the game last night. Hawks had a lead going into the 3rd. They scored 2 quick goals against him, and he was rattled, and the game was done. He just does not look comfortable in that Hawks uniform. And also, too, it's sort of, I would say, not the best situation in Chicago for him to be there this year with what has gone down with the Blackhawks organization.
For sure, especially with all the other stuff, all the circus that's going around with the sexual assault and everything.
Yeah.
They're really unstable there right now.
Yeah, for sure. You have the Coyotes at 0-9-1. Shane Wright's probably hoping they win a few games because I don't think he wants to end up in Arizona.
No.
So, looking at some of the leaders for point getters, in the NHL. Draisaitl came out of the gates. He is on fire, leading the National Hockey League with 20 points. Behind him, you have McDavid at 19. Going into tonight's game, you had Ovechkin at 15, Kyle O'Connor at 14, and Kopitar at 13. That rounds your top 5 in points. Anybody really there that you're surprised about?
Kyle Connor being 4th in the league. That's pretty impressive. I didn't expect that 100%.
Yeah.
Even Kopitar.
Yeah. Kopitar is playing lights out. The Kings are playing decent hockey. I've watched a few of their games lately, and they really look like they're engaged with some of their youth. It's a balance of youth and veteran leadership there. So, the Kings are projecting well. It looks like that, and this is even without Quinton Byfield that got hurt right in the preseason there. So should be interesting to see how the Kings finish up. Just want to check if Mr. Ovechkin scored more than 1 goal tonight, because he's always interesting to see what happens with him. Yeah, so he's at 10. So if you look at the right now, if you look at the leaders in terms of goals, you have Alex Ovechkin back at top with him scoring tonight with 10 goals. You have Draisaitl at 9. Then you have Kopitar. We just talked about him at 7. Kreider having a pretty good start to the year at 7. And then you have Connor McDavid at 7 as well. I know the Rangers are not your favorite team, but that being said, they're off to a pretty good start, and Kreider has 7 goals.
They are playing well. I agree with you. I watched a couple of their games as well. They look like they're really engaged. They really do this year. They look like a completely different team. Zibanejad's even back checking and all kinds of stuff I'm seeing that I'm not used to seeing.
Yeah,
like Mr. Gallant's got him playing well.
Yeah, and I was just going to get that. You see, usually it takes a coach 2 to 3 months to get his feet wet, get them to buy into the system. I think that's what's happening over there. And they're also getting decent goaltending by Shegerson there, right? So I think that'll definitely help out the Rangers too as well. So, so a lot of different things happening right now. Your thoughts on what you're seeing in terms of the officiating in the NHL. I've watched a lot of games over the last 48 hours, and I'm not really understanding what I'm seeing in terms of this cross-checking rule. Some is being called in front of the net, some is not. It sort of seems wishy-washy what's happening out there.
There's a lot of stuff that's been happening like that. It looks like some calls, they're looking for stuff. There was a call in tonight's Penguins game where one of the Flyers players dropped his stick.
Yeah,
as he was getting checked, and they called the Pittsburgh player for slashing for knocking him out. You can see the replay was totally phantom. He actually lost the stick out of his hand. I guess I don't know. They're trying to. You're right. It seems like that. Sometimes they're guessing. Mm-hmm. That's maybe the best way I can put it. That some stuff just looks bad, so they're calling it.
Yeah, it's like phantom calls, like you called it. I think that's what's happening. That's what's happening here right now is just phantom calls. Now let me throw this at you, because again we haven't been on in a couple weeks here. So NHLPA votes in favor of investigating Union's response to the beach situation. That's news today. We also have Marian Gaborik has called it a career. He's retired. So there's a couple of rumors there or news and notes there, but what are your thoughts too with the whole Bettman situation? Because the other day Alan Walsh, the NHL agent, was putting fires in social media saying that there's rumblings that the owners are definitely, the way the NHL has handled this situation, both the NHL office as well as the Players Association, with this beach incident, the sexual assault case, that owners are not happy with Gary, and it's time for Gary to go.
Yeah, I'm hearing the same thing. If this got out, like, you're never going to know. They're not saying how far out it got past the Blackhawks organization, but if the NHL knew about it and they didn't, like, it was bad enough of what the Blackhawks did, saying that we don't run and ruin team chemistry at this time, and that's just total ridiculousness and cover up. But if the NHL knew about it and the PA knew about it, and nobody did anything, I think everybody's got to go, president of the PA, if he did anything, if he knew about it, he didn't press the issue. Maybe he did take it to Bettman. Who knows? Yeah, I agree with you. If Bettman knew about it, or if anybody, Daly or anybody knew about it, they've got to go. You can't cover this kind of stuff up. It's ridiculous.
No, I agree. It's put definitely a black mark on the National Hockey Association or National Hockey League, as well as the NHL Players Association. It's definitely a dark day for the NHL the last couple of weeks for sure. Looking forward to the weekend here. There's definitely some good hockey. Tomorrow night, there's a couple games that I'm really interested to see, with New York Rangers with a hot hand going into Edmonton. Then we have your New Jersey Devils against the LA Kings. That's a late one. I'm sure you'll be in bed by the time that one starts.
It's Friday night. I'm good.
Oh, you're good. Okay, so it's Friday night. So a couple of matches that I'm interested to watch. And then the big one, though, this weekend, the big one up is Carolina at Florida. And that one is a 6 p.m. start on Saturday. That one should be rocking because it should be the two teams that are unbeaten going into Saturday night, even though the Panthers, I believe, have that one overtime loss. But that should be a really, really good game to watch on Saturday. Any final marks before we close out the Hockey Lounge for tonight up?
No, just I agree with you 100%. I think Saturday night's probably going to be the one I watch. That's going to be some phenomenal hockey there. The Canes and the Canes and the Panthers. That's possible conference final preview.
Yeah, for sure. And then we also have just before we let everybody go tonight, who came out the winner of that Eichel trade?
It's hard to say right now. I think right now it looks like Vegas, but I really want to give it some time and see who these two draft, who ends up Buffalo ends up drafting, how Krebs plays in Buffalo. I think there's optimism in Buffalo for concerning this trade. They've got some assets that they can use. They got 4 assets for him. He wasn't going to play there anymore. For this year, it's definitely going to be Vegas. For this year, next year, it's going to be Vegas.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see once Vegas gets all their players in the lineup and see who's, how this team is going to shape up, because I like we talked about, I think the centers are three deep, 4 deep now. They've never had that first line center that they have. Buffalo did get some assets in return, but I think we'll see this trade in a couple of years, who's the winner and who wasn't the winner. So have a great night. We'll definitely be back at it very, very soon. Thanks for all the viewers. If you want to become a Hockey Lounge member, subscribe, hit the subscribe button. If you like the show tonight, hit the like button, slap shot that like button. We will see you next time on the Hockey Lounge. Have a great night.
Night.